At 3:15 a.m. September 19, 2025, Kursk Oblast, Russia. The Russian Marines of the 810th Brigade held a special kind of contempt for their enemy. They believed their sprawling $1.7 billion command hub in Kursk was untouchable and impossible target. But in exactly 8 minutes, a 5-drone swarm of Ukrainian FPVs worth $1,500 will turn that hub into the world's most expensive bonfire. This wasn't a random shot in the dark. For weeks, Ukrainian intelligence had mapped this exact location, identifying a critical vulnerability, a 5-foot-wide radar shadow that ran right up to the hub's unprotected rear. Right now, 3 FPV drones are using that path, screaming through the pines just 10 feet off the ground. Their target is Russia's logistical brain. With peace talks stalled, this strike as a calculated message sent directly to Moscow, Ukraine, can make your border bleed whenever it wants, forcing you to defend your own territory instead of attacking ours. The attack itself is a classic feint. Miles away, 2 decoy drones are making a high-altitude run, a noisy distraction for the base's $20 million Pantsir-S1 air defense system. While the Pantsir looks up, the 3 primary attack drones slip in underneath. And here's the irony, the system's software is so advanced, it's stupid. It's designed to hunt jets at 30,000 feet and automatically dismisses low-flying drones as birds. To the Russian operators, inside their screens are perfectly clear, they have no idea what's coming. At 3:17 a.m. local time, 3 $500 drones tear through the night their AI flight controllers, making 1,000 microcorrections a second to fight the 5-mile-an-hour wind gusts. 3 miles to go, less than 8 minutes to impact. The Earth's curvature is hiding them from radar, and the thick fog is blinding thermal sensors. Everything is going perfectly, until it isn't. A Russian patrol on the ground hearing a high-pitched whine that doesn't belong in these woods looks up. He can't see a thing, so he starts shooting at the sound. AK-12 tracers rip through the fog-bright orange streets, cutting through the dark. 600 feet per second of bad news. But here's the thing about shooting at sound, you're always late. He's firing at a ghost at a spot the drone left half a second ago. In the bunker, the operator yanks the stick, pulling a 3G turn. The decoy drones do their job flaring brighter. One of them catches a stray round and evaporates in a shower of sparks and cheap electronics. The 2 real drones and the final decoy dive deeper into the fog hearts pounding in the command bunker. They've survived the first contact. The bad news. The gunfire just woke up the entire base. On the radio, a panicked Russian voice screams, "Drones inbound." The hornet's nest has officially been kicked at 3:18 a.m. local time. The gunfire from the patrol flips a switch. 2 miles out from the target, the Krasukha-4 electronic warfare system awakens roaring to life with 100 kilowatts of raw power. In the bunker, the operator's screen instantly dissolves into a blizzard of static. "Signal is gone," he barks. For a moment, the 4 remaining drones are flying completely blind. On paper, this is where the attack ends. The Krasukha is a beast, a jammer so potent it can black out NATO communications from 150 miles away. But the Ukrainians planned for this. The instant the signal died, the 3 attack drones switched to their autonomous mode. They are no longer listening to the operator. They are following a preloaded flight path using Starlink coordinates backed up by internal gyroscopes. You can jam a radio wave, but you can't jam the laws of physics. Simultaneously, the final decoy drone deploys its secret weapon, a series of blazing 3,600-degree flares. It's a data assault swamping Krasukha's algorithms with junk thermal signals. While the Krasukha is having a seizure, the base's physical bodyguard, the Pantsir-S1, begins to stir. Its 1RL-1-23 radar sweeps the forest, searching for targets. But it finds nothing. The Russian Marines in the command center, the same ones who brutalized Mariupol, sip their coffee and stare at empty screens. They have no idea the killers are already inside the wire. The massive cannons on its turret begin to traverse, but they move with a crippling 2.5-second delay trying to process the ghost data from the flares. It's a battleship trying to swat a mosquito. The Krasukha is screaming, but Ukraine has a gag in its mouth. The Pantsir is aiming, but it's blindfolded. And the real swarm, now just 1.5 miles from its target, continues its silent, deadly approach. At 3:19 a.m. local time, the Krasukha's electronic assault was a knockout punch for about 2 seconds. That's all the time it took for Ukrainian genius to take the wheel. The moment the operator's screen went to static, the swarm's mesh network activated. When one drone sensor detects a threat, it shares the data with the others, and they adapt in unison, a fluid flock of digital sparrows. Contrast that with the Russian command structure. It takes their system a full 10 seconds to process a threat and issue an order. In those 10 seconds, these drones have already traveled nearly 900 feet. Now, with the Krasukha effectively neutered by the decoys' flares, the real physical threat awakens. The Pantsir, enraged by the noise, takes the bait laid by the last decoy. Its twin 30mm cannons erupt, spitting 5,000 rounds a minute into the sky, creating a literal wall of tungsten and lead. The decoy vanishes in a flash of vaporized metal. Mission accomplished. But its sacrifice bought the attack swarm precious seconds. The intense cannon fire forces the Pantsir's radar to momentarily reboot its tracking, giving the operator a window. His screen flickers back to life. He shoves the control stick, splitting the 3 attack drones into separate vectors. They dive, dropping from 10 feet to just 5, so low they're practically kicking up mud. The Russian targeting computer, already choking on ghost data from the flares, completely short-circuits. It was designed to track one large target in a clear sky, not 3 tiny weaving targets in dense fog. The electronic beast is blinded and its iron bodyguard is firing at ghosts. But the fight is far from over. Now they have to deal with the last line of defense, desperate men with rocket launchers. At 3:20 a.m. local time, the swarm is now less than a mile out. The Russians, realizing their high-tech defenses have failed, revert to a more primitive solution: sheer brute force. The Trilene erupts as Marines hoist Igla-S manpads onto their shoulders. They aren't aiming for the decoys anymore. A soldier gets a lock on one of the real attack drones, the infrared seeker screaming as it finds the 1,200-degree heat of the electric motor. He pulls the trigger. A streak of fire spits from the tube. Just then the drone performs its magic trick. A sharp hiss of pressurized gas and a 5-second burst of liquid nitrogen floods the motor housing. The external temperature plummets to just 100 degrees. To the incoming missile's infrared eye, the drone simply vanishes from existence. It's a real-life Jedi mind trick. The Igla screams past missing by inches and detonates harmlessly in the fog. But that trick came at a terrible cost. A massive power drain. The drones now have less than 8 minutes of battery life to complete the mission. The clock isn't just ticking anymore. It's screaming. Seeing the missile fail, the Russian PW operators get angry. They abandon the broad jamming and switch to a sniper rifle approach, focusing all 100 kilowatts of power into a narrow-band attack, hammering the swarm's specific 2.4 GHz control frequency. In the bunker, the operator's screen doesn't just go to static. It begins to violently tear and flicker. This is the attack the Ukrainians were truly afraid of. But they had an answer. The drones aren't on one channel. They hop across 500 channels, dodging jammers like a digital ninja that changes their signature in the blink of an eye. Trying to jam it is like trying to shoot a target that teleports 1,500 times a second. The Krasukha can't get a solid lock, but it's causing chaos. The signal is unstable, a digital hurricane that threatens to sever the link at any moment. Seeing the electronic battle fail, the Panzer operator gives up on his confused computer and switches to manual control. It's no longer a sophisticated system. It's just a man, a joystick, and a whole lot of anger trying to hose down a 60-mile-per-hour target in near-zero visibility. His cannons roar, creating a terrifying, inaccurate wall of lead and tungsten that the drones must now fly through. As a last, desperate measure, a mortar fires with a hollow thump. It's a chaff canister. It detonates above the hub, releasing a glittering cloud of aluminum strips. The cloud is meant to blind radar, but it does something far worse. It completely obscures the target from sight. The operator is now fighting a dying battery, a flickering screen, and flying through a storm of steel towards a target he can no longer see. The irony is suffocating. The Russians just blinded their own base. But they've also blinded the drones. He kills the auto-targeting. He's flying by instinct now, blind. At 3:21 a.m. local time, the operator does the only thing he can. He dives. The three drones drop to just 3 feet, screaming through the mud and grass underneath the main curtain of aluminum. And suddenly, they're through. The glittering fog parts and the feast is laid out before them. The operator's camera locks on. Dead ahead, the concrete bunker packed with 500 122mm shells. To the left, the equipment warehouse, a $20 million treasure chest of RPGs. To the right, a hidden bay of Grad rocket launchers. 15 seconds to impact. The base's defenses are in their death throes. The mighty Pantsir is silent, its cannons glowing cherry red, either out of ammo or overheated from shooting at ghosts. The Krasukha is still blasting out jamming signals, but it's like trying to stop a bullet with a garden hose. The drones are too close. On the ground, Marines are firing their last eggless missiles, but it's pure panic pointing million-dollar launchers at the sky and praying. It's a sledgehammer trying to hit a fly in a hurricane. And this is where the fatal Russian flaw is laid bare. Russian military doctrine 101: put all your eggs in one very large, very explosive basket. They built a fortress, but they stored everything so close together that a single spark could ignite the whole box. A sudden 7-mile-an-hour crosswind slams the lead drone, threatening to send it cartwheeling into the ground. But the AI corrects in less than a millisecond, the drone barely shuddering as it holds its course. On the ground, a high-pitched whine is no longer a sound. It's a physical presence, a sound you feel in your teeth. Russian Marines look up from their useless launchers. Their eyes go wide. They see 3 dark shapes impossibly fast emerging from the fog like wraiths. They don't even have time to scream. In the bunker, the operator's voice is a low, trembling whisper. Warheads are hot. 10 seconds. 5. The steel door of the main munitions bunker fills the entire screen, growing larger and larger. 3, 2, 1. At 3:22 a.m. local time, the first drone connects. The shape-charged warhead detonates using the Monroe effect to turn a cone of solid copper into a superheated jet of molten metal traveling at 8,000 feet per second. It punches through the bunker's 15mm steel door like a needle through paper. For a fraction of a second, there is silence. Then the jet hits the first stack of 122mm shells. The initial detonation isn't the killer. It's the pressure wave. Moving at the speed of sound, it compresses the air inside the bunker, and the 500 shells cook off in a single catastrophic chain reaction. The second drone slams into the equipment warehouse 0.3 seconds later. The $20 million worth of RPGs and anti-tank missiles ignite, turning the building into a rain of white-hot shrapnel. The third drone finds the hidden Grad launchers, and they simply vanish in a clean, bright flash. From the drone's eye view, you can see the physics in slow motion. The shock wave, a visible ripple in the air, flattens everything within a 200-yard radius. The fireball expands, reaching a temperature of 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This isn't chaos. It's physics on steroids. Now look at the aftermath. A pillar of black smoke is climbing thousands of feet into the dawn sky, visible for 30 miles. The $1.7 billion logistics hub is gone. The chain reaction consumed 5,000 tons of ammunition, enough to sustain the Kharkiv and Sumy fronts for a solid month. Russia's fatal flaw, storing their entire war effort in one basket, just cost them a fortune. Their Walmart of war is now a smoking flea market. And the strategic fallout is immediate. The 810th Naval Infantry Brigade is officially out of business. They have no fuel, no ammo, no equipment. They can't attack the border. For the defenders of Kharkiv and Sumy, it's a moment to breathe. More importantly, Russia is now forced to pull an estimated 10 brigades, nearly 50,000 troops away from critical fronts, like Donetsk, just to plug the bleeding hole in their own border. So from the foggy forests of Kursk, Ukraine turned $1,500 worth of garage-built drones into a $1.7 billion nightmare for Russia. The lesson for tonight: never bet against a bunch of guys who learned how to hack Starlink for fun. Smash that like button if you think Ukrainian ingenuity is the MVP of this war. And what's the craziest drone tactic you can think of? Let me know in the comments below.